Joining us now to discuss the controversy surrounding the so-called voter fraud list here in Texas is Texas GOP Chairman James Dickey and the Advocacy Director for Progress Texas, Sam Robles.
Thank you both for being here tonight.
Thank you.
James, starting with you, the Travis County Registrar has already determined nearly 1,400 people on that Secretary of State list are citizens and legal voters. I mean,
that's
what
great.
do you think
that means he's completed step one.
Hold on a minute. What is the aim of this list, and do you think this list is credible?
Sure. The list was the Secretary of State starting the process, and frankly, it's a process that should have been going on for the last 20 years, and I'm glad we finally have the process started. And the process is they find to the best of their ability the matching the two databases which are distinct, and finding people who, when they applied for a driver's license, they said they were not citizens, and then separately they applied for voter registration. So we have reason to believe that it's possible they are not citizens, and now it's up to counties, and counties are the only ones with the authority to do it, and they have the responsibility to do it. Counties now then have to follow up to say, is this correct or not? Now, kudos to Bruce for checking and doing exactly what he's supposed to do, which is to find out which should still be on there. So if half of this list are people who, in fact, were citizens before they actually did register or before they actually did vote, then that's great. That's half that's off the list. If it's even 2/3, that's great. That's half. That still leaves tens of thousands of other people that we need to investigate. And that's the job of the tax assessor collector and the SOS.
Sam, focusing on Travis County, a lot of the names on the list of possible non-citizens, they've been justifiably removed. Why do you think the Secretary of State's office put out this list, and what positives and negatives do you see coming out of this?
Sure. This appointee continues a long-standing history in Texas of creating barriers, keeping people from voting. Just years ago, Texas eliminated some of the most important parts of the Voting Rights Act. They continue to eliminate IDs that are acceptable so you can go out and vote, affecting rural communities and college students. I mean, this is frankly not new to us in Texas, and legislators need to focus on modernizing our election system and being able to create policies that promote good voting and allow people to register online to vote.
James, do you think you got a PR problem with this whole thing?
Well, certainly the people who don't want any checks and balances in the process love to jump on to any issue in the process. But it's very straightforward. The Secretary of State has a duty to share what information he has.
Yeah, we understand that. We understand that. I guess my point to you is, as this story exists right now, it looks like the Secretary of State put out this huge bogus list accusing people of not being able to vote. Now that it's finally being looked at in the public sphere, it looks like it has no credibility because loads of people are coming off it. Now, granted, nobody really knows the veracity and truth of this list yet. I guess my point to you is, shouldn't we know the veracity and truth of this before it becomes a story?
Well, except he can't. Only the counties have the authority to check in, verify each of those identities. According to current state law, he doesn't have any ability. The Secretary of State's office has no ability. It's only counties who have the ability to deal with accuracy of the voter rolls. So it's only the counties who could take it to the next level to find out if those people had become citizens before before they registered or before they cast a vote. So it's only a PR problem if people make it a PR problem. And unfortunately, some people have a political vested interest in trying to do so.
And do you think it's a PR problem or a problem for the woman we just featured in the story before this?
Well, I am curious about why, since she's already confirmed it's not a problem, she's a citizen and she has a right to vote, how she's feeling oppressed since there's no vote that she's not been able to cast.
Right,
and there's no vote
she will be.
There's no vote that she will not be able to cast. So
yeah, she can still vote. So
she's saying she feels repressed, that she feels it's voter suppression. How can it be voter suppression if her vote was not suppressed?
Well, she's also suing for voter intimidation. not just
For
suppression.
others
And again,
beyond
it
herself.
wasn't intimidation. It was a question. Were you a citizen by the time you vote? And her answer was yes, and that's it. That's the end of the conversation. That's no different than, are you actually James Dickey when I go to cast a vote? There's nothing more stringent about it than that.
So let's talk about the man at the center of the voter fraud list. That's David Whitley. Sam, his confirmation hearing for Secretary of State is scheduled for tomorrow, where support is needed. Do you think this recent list will backfire on him, or do you see any consequences happening here?
Look, I think what we can tell is that this appointee is unable to uphold what this office is supposed to do. He has shown in just being on the job, unofficially on the job for 1 month, and has created a whole mess. And tomorrow, state senators are going to go in. I think they're going to come up with some pointed questions. Democrats are ready to get to the bottom of what's been happening in this office for the last couple of weeks. But overall, I think people like Julieta Garibay, who was just featured in the story before, and so many voters like her are going to be watching, because these are folks who came into this country, went through the process to become naturalized citizens, and then were able to practice their right to vote just this last year. I think Julieta was just able to vote this last year. And so not only are our state senators watching, but so are voters and future voters to see what is going to happen in the state, and they will be definitely coming around in November when it counts.
All righty. Sam Robles, James Dickey, thank you both for coming by and talking with us about that interesting conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.